making a decision on who to vote for is not so easy for a lot of people, but it may be more daunting or exciting, or a mix of both for first-time voters. I've been joined by Ekia Yeboah and Nana Kweku Wilson. Hello, thank you for joining the program, guys. Let me start with you, Ekia. Have you made your decision already?
I can't hear you, please.
Oh, hi, Ekia. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right, I'm asking if you've already made a decision on who to vote for and what influenced that decision.
Good morning and thanks for having me this morning. I think an 80% decision has been made on who to vote for.
And what influenced that decision?
Well, the manifestos of the two major parties.
Okay, so when you say manifestos, I want to believe you've taken your time to read both documents, or the discussions from the manifestos is what has influenced your decision?
Yes, I haven't seen the whole thing, but I have gone through the highlights of the manifestos of both parties.
Okay, all right, I'll come back to you. But Nana Kweku, have you made a decision and what informed it?
Okay, so hello and thanks for having me. I am just as a key, I'm also almost at the point of making a final decision. But mainly, I think what will influence it will be what I've experienced in the last 4 years or last 3 years, and also what I experienced in the last 8 years under the former government. So I think that will really influence what I will be.
So you're comparing and contrasting. It's a thing of who has the best track record for you.
More or less, because this time around, I think those of us first-time voters, we are privileged because for the first time, we have two gentlemen who have both been presidents before, and so we know them. And so it's not about promises that much, but it's more or less about what they've done or what they did when they had the opportunity. And so I think that has really will influence my decision as to who I vote for come Monday.
Let's talk about the policies for young people. You're both students, right? And
yes,
we've heard from these two major political parties on their intentions for students, some making last-minute adjustments and all. But if in terms of percentage, what would you score the main political parties, that's the NPP and NDC, on their plans for young people or the youth?
The two parties together will be a 65%.
Now, I want you to score them individually.
Individually, oh, okay. With the reigning party, that's the New Patriotic Party, that would be an 80.
Okay.
And for the National Democratic Party, I'll give them a 50.
Okay, why a 50 and why an 80?
Okay. An 80 because they came in with a free SHS, and people, or most of us, thought that it would start probably a year after they come into power. But then they started right in 2017. And having the first class to graduate this year, that is like a lot for them. I mean, it gives them a lot of points.
Okay.
Then when we look at that of the NDC, and that was my time in school, I think nothing so special was done for us during my time in SHS, and also primary all the way to university. I mean, during their reign, I was in JHS and SHS, and there wasn't anything special for me.
Okay, so it all comes down to...
give them a 50.
All right, it all comes down to free SHS for you. Nana Kweku, same question to you.
I think free education, free SHS is going to be a major factor in this year's election for first-time voters, because most of us are just graduates from secondary school and also at the university level. So for me, for the NPP, I think they've done well more than the NDC when it comes to policies that concerns we the youth. In terms of free education, just as Ipia said, because at the time when I first heard of free education, that was in 2008. when Akufo-Addo was, contesting for president. And at the time, we were like, oh, it's quite, a huge thing to really take to bring free education. But when he lost the election, 2012, he came back again with free education, the same message. And at the time, I think NDC was saying we want quality education, we don't want free education at the point in time. Then he lost in 2012, he went to court, he lost again. Then 2016, he comes back with the same message of free education. So, like, I think this gentleman is very, very serious about the whole policy. And when he came, true to his words, in the first year, just as Pierre said, he implemented free education. I remember watching the launch of that policy on TV that particular day. I think it was at West African Secondary School in Adenta. It was very interesting. And at the point, I thought there would be challenges, but they've been able to roll out the policy very good. And that has really benefited a lot of our mates, because I have friends who couldn't make it to secondary school at the time because they didn't have money. A lot of them, they had good grades, even more than me, but they couldn't enter. But with free education, most of my cousins, because I'm done with secondary, most of my cousins have entered, in secondary schools, and they're really enjoying. And so for that, I think NPP has done well more than ND. So my ratings, I'll give NPP an 85 and NDC 65.
Okay, Nana Kweku, what message from the NDC's campaign stands out for you or hits you?
Okay, so the campaign message for the NDC that I really think is quite laudable was with regards to the issue of the law school. That was very laudable on my side, because I felt they put out a more pragmatic or a more precise approach to dealing with the problem, as compared to what the governing party said. I mean, comparing the two policies, I think NDC, that's the only policy that really stands out for me.
Okay, are you a law student, or are you hoping to study law?
I'm currently a law student, actually.
Okay, that's why that would jump at you. But Ekia, what message from the NDC stands out for you?
It's actually same.
Okay.
Their policies on bettering the legal education. So that is what stands out for me.
What other policy do you remember? I mean, apart from what stands out, what do you remember about the NDC's campaign messages?
They legalizing Okada, and I think the maternity leave for pregnant working women, they want to move that from 3 months to 4 months. Also want to introduce a 7-day paternity leave, for the fathers to be able to assist their spouses.
Okay.
Also, their agenda for 1 million jobs. I think those are a few that I remember.
Does the woman factor? I mean, we have the former First Lady standing as a presidential candidate on the ticket of the NDP. We've got Bridget Dobenuku with the PPP. We've got Ekia Donko. We've got the NDC's Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman. Does that change anything for you in these elections? Is the woman factor anything that will influence your votes this year?
Okay, personally, I believe that Ghana isn't ready for a female leader yet.
Okay.
Yes, personally, that's what I think.
Why would you say that? Why do you think Ghana is not ready for a female leader?
Because we've had Ekia Donko for some years now.
Okay.
And there hasn't been, though she's standing as a president, there hasn't been any major support from we the ladies ourselves. Okay. And that has been like a notion for some time.
All right, okay. So when you say Ghana is not ready, do you mean that the women are not ready to fit in the gap, or the systems are not ready to support them? I'm just trying to figure out what you mean, really.
No, we do fit in, but then the system isn't ready. As in the people, those to vote, are not ready to have a female leading them.
Okay. And why do you think that is the case?
I think still with this archaic mentality of women not being able to, fill in the gap as the men do.
Okay. All right.
So as this generation stands, I honestly don't think, for some years now, I don't think Ghana is ready.
Okay.
I mean, they are good on any side to fit in, but then the people are not ready to accept them. That is it.
All right.
The acceptance.
Okay, we'll quickly have to wrap up this conversation, but let me have you respond briefly to that, Nana Kweku. Does the woman factor mean anything for you?
Okay, the woman factor will really mean less because looking at the personality, Professor Opoku-Agyeman is a very distinguished lady. But the reason it wouldn't affect much is because we've had females run as president of main parties. Even if you put aside Ikuadonko, we've had Bridget Oponiku. I think the first time we've had Kunedu Agyeman-Rawlings. Kunedu Agyeman-Rawlings was once a first lady, and she has played a very instrumental role in the NDC. So we know her capabilities. And also, Professor Nana Opoku-Agyeman's, unfortunately, her track record when she was Minister of Education at a point it was quite problematic. So when we heard the news, I was happy because for the first time having a female. But after 2 weeks, the whole euphoria around her died down, and it came back to the main two players.
All right.
So although it's a good idea, but because of the two candidates, Mahama and Akufo-Addo, they are good in president, and so to really
come down to them.
Lessen their chances. Exactly.
It really comes down to the main contenders. Okay, so guys, as we wrap up this conversation, I just want to find out how excited you are to cast your ballot on Monday, just around the corner. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you, Nana Kweku?
I would say 25.
5?
I'm very excited.
Did you say 25 or 5?
You said?
Did you say 25 or 5?
I said 25.
Okay, that's beyond my skill. So you're super excited. Okay, you are telling us why. Excited. Okay.
Because the place I'll be voting is at Kole Kroche.
Okay.
So my MPs are between Dr. Zinato Rawlings and lawyer Prince Deborah.
Okay.
And so I'm very, very excited. And also looking at Rawlings's job recently, it has really thrown me in a sort of dilemma as to who I vote for when it comes to parliamentary candidates.
Okay. So your heart wants to take over your mind, but you want your mind to win this, right? All right. Ekia, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you to vote on Monday?
9.
Okay.
Yeah, it really feels good that I, finally get to exercise the constitutional right. Yes, and I'm just looking forward to how the entire day will be like, going to vote, probably those who come around, whether they'll comport themselves. I mean, I'm just curious to know how 7th December will be like. So just hoping for the best.
All right, talking about how people will conduct themselves. You are young people. I'll just give you 1 minute each to, just send a word to fellow first-time voters and young people in terms of keeping our peace. Let me start with you, Akuya. 1 minute.
Okay, so, just as we have experienced over the years, I believe that we should just go cast your vote. Don't get into an argument with anyone. And also, if you still haven't decided, I'm telling you that kindly look through the manifestos, just as my colleague said, Nane. So we've had these two being presidents already. So just look at their track, look at those with policies that are realistic, and just don't be influenced by what anyone says. Make up your decision, go there, vote, and just go back home, and may the best person win.
Nice one. Nana Kweku.
Okay, so basically, I will advise all of us to, on Monday, go early, cast your votes, but please do not put on any party paraphernalia. Because we have NDC branded nose mask, NDC branded nose mask. Make sure you put on a normal blue nose mask, no branded party nose mask, to avoid any problems.
Okay.
Vote, go home and pray for Ghana's peace. That's all I have.
I've really enjoyed this conversation with you guys. That's Nana Kweku Wilson and Ekia Yeboah, all first-time voters, and they've been sharing with us what will influence their decision and how excited they are. As you can tell, really super excited to vote for the first time. And as they've said, please, let's just keep the peace. All the best, guys. And hopefully we can talk after the elections to find out if your expectations were met.